This video is meant to help you to understand how to use paraphrases. Paraphrasing is very similar to direct quotes in that you introduce the information with a claim, you then bring in the evidence in your own words and cite it, and then you explain it. Now, the big difference between paraphrase and direct quote is that in a direct quote, you copy the original word for word, as in a copy and paste. Whereas in a paraphrase, you take the original and then you put it into your own words and then you cite it. Good writers tend to paraphrase when the original text is confusing and the readers may not understand it. So, just like a direct quote, you begin by introducing the claim, and we're going to use the same claim as the direct quote file. The internet has been classified in a specific way in terms of how people depend on it. The original from Isset's article on page 1, or the direct quote, is the justification for the Communications Act of 1934 was that public interstate communications had become too important to society to be left unregulated, and that the government must have the authority to prevent carriers from restricting the flow of information for political, personal, or financial reasons. So now here's the paraphrase, and let's see which one you can understand better. In 1934, many in the United States depended on public forms of communication, such as the telephone and telegraph, so much so that the federal government wanted to establish rules protecting these modes of communication from industry or the communication carriers. Isset 1. The 1934 Communications Act was established so that carriers could not interrupt telephone or telegraph usage to make money, to influence politics, or for any other reason. So you might want to take a moment and think about which one made more sense to you. As a reader, would you have preferred the direct quote, which was the one on top? Or would you have preferred the paraphrase? Now, regardless of whether you use direct quote or paraphrase, you're always going to explain it. And here's the explanation. Here, the, quote, interstate communication, unquote, focused only on telephone lines and perhaps telegraphs because they were the modes of telecommunication in the 1930s. However, it is not difficult to see how the internet of 2017 means the same for people as the phone did in 1930. So you can see my explanation didn't change whether I used a direct quote or I paraphrased. And now here is the full example paragraph. The claim is in black, the paraphrase is in this maroonish red, and you can see that there are two citations, Isset 1 and then Isset 1. Now that is because when you paraphrase, you have to cite it sentence by sentence. You can't have two sentences and then the citation. You have to do it sentence by sentence because that tells your reader that that sentence is in your own words. And because it's in your own words, that sometimes gets a little bit fuzzy. So you have to be really clear with your reader. And then, of course, your explanation is in the blue. So here are some phrases for paraphrasing, and you can see that I've got the multiple citations in there, and that refers to whether or not you have two sentences, one sentence, three sentences, one sentence, or two sentences. And I just went down the line. Now, the MLA style for those in-text citations doesn't change whether you use a direct quote or a paraphrase. I hope this slideshow was helpful, and I'm looking forward to answering any of your questions. Thank you.